We'll say hi to Lori.
growing up with Gloria, as my mom, was dynamic, dramatic, sometimes chaotic. There was always a lot of fun in our house and a lot of noise, but it was usually laughter, sometimes yelling, but mostly laughter. And my friends felt more at home sometimes at our home than their own homes. It was a home that felt safe and had no judgment, as Meryl said. That was definitely paramount. And she loved humor, and she saw it in every corner of her life, which I find interesting because she didn't sway away from facing dark things. And I think Meryl kind of summarized that really well. She was a typical Brooklyn girl who made really funny mistakes with language, like Archie Bunker did. So at a certain point in life, I started to write them down. I don't know why, but I guess this would be the perfect moment to share some of those. So the first one I'd like to share is that she would say, she was trying to say a numero uno, and she always said uno numo. That was just continuous. That was the way she said it. And when you say, I've had it up the kazoo with you, that's an odd phrase, but she said, oh, she would say exactly that. I've had it up the kazooie with you, and it's wazoo, and wazoo's not even a word, but she managed to change that too. She wanted to tell me that somebody had leftover like residual side effects from something, and this person had leftover residue. She was running out of power in her phone, so she would say, I gotta go, I'm running juice out of the phone. There was somebody she would admire that she wanted to tell me they were very environmentally conscious and you know, wanted to raise awareness about global warming. And she said, you know, she was very pro-atmospheric. Whatever that means. Oh, I love this one. Her kilogram conversion. She tells a nurse that 70.1 kilometers is about 150 pounds. He's telling me about someone that worked at Mother's. She says, oh yeah, he used to work in the vegetable bin. Mom, didn't you used to drive a bus? Yes, I worked for OCD. One thing Coney Island taught me was divergence. I think she meant diversity, but I think divergence works. Most people use an air fryer, so you don't have to use oil or butter. And I guess there was a time, I should remember, that they had automated vending machines for hot food, and it was a big thing maybe in the 50s. But those automats, she said, you put a nickel in and you get see-through food. She said, don't put your foot on the brake or the gas, but use your steering wheel if you start to astroplane. And CBD oil doesn't have TLC in it. I know Mom loved and appreciated everyone who's here today. And I thank you so much for being here to celebrate her life.
I'm just gonna go wing it. Of course I'm gonna wing it. I'm the baby. I'm the afterthought. I should know, right? My mother always said, takes one to know one. That's one my husband didn't ever love. The other one he didn't love is fake it till you make it, because, you know, faking it is not okay. But here's the thing, if you're taught you don't have it, then you gotta fake it, right? My mom had it. But she didn't have a whole lot of self-esteem. I do not understand how a woman with such low self-esteem had all these people come to her memorial. How do you love somebody who had so much self-doubt, so much putting her own self down? And I'll tell you my own thought about it, humor. Definitely, we mentioned it a couple of times, humor got her far. Beating the crap out of my dad in Scrabble. That doesn't hurt for, recognizing they have a noggin somewhere. And you guys, her friends were super important to her. Dad was important too, but I didn't like my mom growing up. I actually recoiled from her. I avoided her. She was fat, she was loud. She was not a PTA blonde tennis playing mommy. She would answer the door with a slip pulled over her bosom, and that was her dress. I didn't know where to hide. And physically, I had my own problems with my curves. By the way, I still fucking do at 57. What the hell is that? Can I get a yeah, right? Thank you. My mom was curvy. And she played racquetball. She beat the hell out of Reva Morton every time she played. Am I right, Bruce? Every time. So, she wasn't an athlete. I have a daughter who's an athlete, but what I would like to say with pride is I'm Gloria in a lot of words. I got so much of her going on in me. I got 3 kids. She had 3 kids. She never had a career. She did a bunch of shit. That's me. Never had a career and a bunch of shit. We're both born as cancers. We're both loudmouths and cough-waffles. And you know what? When I turned 14, my mom grabbed me with no discussion and brought me to a gynecologist to get me a diaphragm. You don't have to have a big talk about that, right? You just make sure you got protection. And other than that, mom let me make my mistakes. And I really hope that I allowed my kids to make enough mistakes themselves to figure it out on their own, that I didn't call them, that I'm there for them. And I always knew I had a safe place to be. And that's what I thank her for. Her creativity, her generosity. Yeah, a lot of poor me. And I'm still gonna work on dealing with the guilt, just like you did. Guilt. Resentment. It's all over the place, right? I think you all know what I mean. But the fact is, when they're gone now, there's nothing but pure joy and memory and a lot of love. So thank you.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm just here to show you my tears. I'm not such an eloquent speaker. I want to quote my son. He said, I'm here because Gloria got laid. And I want to thank Gloria's, Vivian's, Eileen's generation. Turning California into the legend it is today. Thank you.
Well, the floor is open if anybody would you like to say anything. I may go on from light music. But anybody else would like to say anything? Because the nice thing, we have a traveling podium, so we can bring the Zoom call to you. So someone raise their hand. Do we need to deliver this microphone? Would you like to do the honors? Wonderful.
No. I'm here.
Hi, Linda.
We first met Gloria, 10 girls. We came to this country in 1973. Gloria was a close friend of our Gloria. We would refer to her as Gloria number 2. We would see them whenever there was a get together, and we were included.
I thought of her as being somewhat of a hippie, very individualistic, artistic, and with very strong opinions. Our discussions were always challenging, passionate, overpowering, and stubborn. Gloria having a different take on whatever topic it was. She would have the last word. In the earlier days, I remember the beadwork, the off-the-wall clothing, and her different hues of hair coloring. She would be smiling now and consider this as a compliment. Although we were not part of her group of friends, in later years, we would be invited to celebrate birthdays, celebrations, memorials, gatherings, movie nights, and when she joined us for pizza and discussion.
It does that once every hour and a half, so you absolutely make it to me. Yes, I'm sorry.
And when she joined us for pizza and discussions, usually about politics, as this was the lively topic of conversation. Gloria always enjoyed Yossi's beautiful singing, and this is his way to contribute to give. We will miss this force that was Gloria, and are grateful to have had the chance to say goodbye. Meryl, Claudia, and Erica embrace each other with many wonderful memories. Rest peacefully, Gloria. I'd like to read something that my Gloria wrote about her. As we go back, 50 years or more. My memories of Gloria G, so called, because I too am Gloria. We met when our young family first came to America from South Africa in the 60s. Gloria, Ted, and the girls lived on top of the world in Laguna Beach. I can't exactly remember how we met. She had a keen sense of humor and a warm personality. There were get-togethers with other friends where her deviled eggs were always enjoyed. In the earlier years, we took drama classes together at Saddleback. We were both pretty good and enjoyed being on stage. I also remember going with her to New York for 3 weeks with Marilyn and squeezing into her tiny apartment. The celebrations for her birthdays were always enjoyed by her many old friends and family, and she would join us at the restaurant for my birthday each year. In the later years, when we were both feeling our age, we would meet with our mutual friend Elaine and me in Dana Point for pizza and lively conversations, usually about politics. And Gloria would have a different opinion about everything. On occasion, her girls would join us. She gave me her old walker, which was a lifesaver or balance saver for me. We will miss Gloria and remember her with great memories of all the many years of friendship. Rest peacefully.
Known Gloria that long, but Claudia, my fiance. So in the short time we've known her, I just put down some words that reminded me of her and the symphony. She introduced me to that. Going to the pool with her, I used to ride the train up. She'd pick me up, we'd go exercise in the pool and then meet Claudia for dinner and go into the symphony. She was always a straight talker, had liked jokes, and especially like subtle jokes that would just pass over me half the time. So I got used to them, and then we could actually joke back and forth pretty well. She had a very unique perspective on a lot of things, which I appreciate. Questioned me a lot. And the main thing I remember is most of her questions, they were to find something out, but she also just sort of liked creating a little edge and a little conflict. And I saw a big part of that when Claudia would visit her and then come back super frustrated because something, trying to remind her that's just your mom trying to create conflict. There was the activity of conflict that kept her excited. I'm gonna miss her a lot, and I love her a lot. I appreciate that you brought Claudia along for me.
I think I could add something. Personally, I wanted to thank Maddie for this really beautiful painting. Maddie, raise your hand. Everybody, she's the artist. Gloria lived on her.
Oh.
Yeah. And I fell in love with mermaids before I knew that. So I just like to think anytime I go mermaiding or anytime I'm playing music, I know she's gonna be there. I love you all and I love my family so much. And I'm so grateful for you all. And you know, growing up is crazy. Life goes by really fast. I'm really getting so big now. It's also really nice for me to see so many faces. A lot of you I haven't seen since I was Danny. I don't think I've seen you since we were in Italy. I think that's the last time I saw you when I was like, I don't know, 12. So I guess, you know, there's pros and cons to things. And I really see like the silver lining of like us getting together like this. I would like to propose that we potentially do this more often. So you know, we have to keep. I think you know, life is very beautiful. Humans are beautiful. Let's just keep loving each other forever. And, love each other like Gloria loved us all.
Hello, Gloria Ginsberg was my godmother. And my daughter say the other one grandma, because she couldn't have two grandmothers, so she would address her as the other one grandma, so I'm gonna address her the other one grandma. I have met Gloria Ginsberg about 14 years ago when I was added into the family. And I have thought that what an amazing woman she was. I loved how brutally honest she was, how unfiltered her conversations were. And I think from the world that I came from, where people sugarcoated my problems and said, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna be fine. And all of those, she was brutally honest and said, when things were not fine, they weren't gonna be fine. And you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna work hard. Things are not gonna be handed to you. And this is how American life is. So I really do appreciate, and I just want to say thank you for having that amazing somebody that I call my mom, for having her and for bringing her into my life. She is the reason why I have all of you guys today. She's the reason why I have such an amazing family. I just want to say that I will treasure her into my heart and in my kids. And I'm so glad that she has met my children, her first grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, actually. And the last conversation I had with my grandma was, we were sitting alone, and she has told me that she is not going to worry about her 3 daughters because she has seen them in every stages and now they are set in life. And she was gonna be a little bit worried about where my life would lead. And I have told her that not to worry. When I first met you, you have told me that life is gonna be challenging and you're gonna face problems, but you're gonna get through it. So just wanna say to her, whatever she might be today, that we're all gonna be okay and we're gonna treasure her and we're gonna keep the amazing love she has for all of us. And we're gonna keep going and we're gonna achieve all my goals. And that is a promise that I would like to make to her today, that I would be okay and I will make it. I have learned so much about my grandma in the past few months that I've known in my entire life. And I would have loved to call more and I would have loved to see her more, but I just want to tell every one of you that when we should not send flowers when people die. We should just send them flowers when they're alive. We should visit more when they're here with us, and we should make that phone call that they all expect from us. So I love you, Grandma, and rest in peace. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you. Would you like to speak next to the painting or what would you like to say? Okay, you can join me. Okay.
Hi, I'm Lauren Garlick. All right. And unless anybody here knew Gloria before she was married, anybody? All right, so.
She's calling you.
Sing it. This call is from Trenton, it's from San Quentin prison. But they don't expect to actually reach me in time to call me. Anyway, so I knew Gloria longer than anyone here. About 65 years since like April or May of 1958. I was 11 months old. And Gloria and Ted were living in the apartment next to ours. And Ted was recovering from back operation, so he was lying outside on this lounge chair. And I don't remember this actually, but I accept that it's true, that I actually walked over to him and started talking. And so there was, when I was growing up, there was 4 families, including mine, who were all basically, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but they were all the parents were best friends. And so that's 8 adults that were parent figures for me. And Gloria is the last one. And I've thought a couple of times, like, I've tried to think of memories of Gloria, and I couldn't really pin down too many, really. It was like that she was just presence in my life. But today I was thinking about, in the summer of '71, I was 14, and my brother and I came to California to Huntington Beach. We spent that whole summer, most of it, with Ted and Gloria and Melo and Claudia and Erica, and whatever that dog's name was. So I was like 14 years old, and my brother was 2 years younger than me, and Merrill was 6 months younger than him, and then everybody else was even younger, and there was like 3 kids across the street who were also really young, and I was getting really bored. And I really needed to, have some interaction with somebody who was sort of at that level. And today I was thinking about how much time I spent in the kitchen talking to Gloria while she did laundry. And she was always doing laundry. Because there was, so many kids in the house. And I kind of, I really looked up to Ted, but Ted, he was working, and he was into his more adult stuff. I don't know. But Gloria really was my companion for that summer. I really appreciate that. And then, there's just years and years of her being there when my kids were born, and my bar mitzvah, and my brother's bar mitzvah, and my granddaughter's birth, and anyway, that's what I don't have any concluding statements. So let's see.
We talk a lot of talks, but I will not talk. I'll just tell you, I would like to sing a song that I usually do in funeral. It's called a prayer, and it was written by a young poet immigrated to Israel from Hungary before the war. And during the war, she volunteered to go to Hungary and to help to save Jews from the Nazis. And she was caught and was executed. She wrote this song. לי, שלא ייגמר לעולם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ורק השמיים, תפילת האדם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ורק השמיים, תפילת האדם. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crush of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crush of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Would anybody like to? Hello, everyone. My name is Mary, and I was lucky enough to become friends with Ted and Gloria in Huntington Beach. And that was with my first husband. But he and Ted worked together. So time passes, moved to Laguna Beach, and have different. But we were really at that time, we were good friends with Ted and Gloria, and they were so much fun, and we would go to parties at their home. My husband and Ted would play the guitar. I remember this Gloria. We went to her home for a party, and danced in the living room, all of us. It was a wonderful party. And if you went to a party at Ted and Gloria's, that was a wonderful party. What I'm leaving out is that I babysat kids when they were little, and if Ted and Gloria went away, then I would go and stay at the house. And so I've known these girls since they were young. But the thing of it is, time passed. 1981, we left Laguna, and we lost touch. And I'm very, very grateful. A couple of years ago, I was lucky enough to be reunited with Gloria. I think it was through Merrill, I really can't remember. And we all met, and my husband had passed away, so it was just me. But I met the family again, and I was so grateful to meet Gloria again. Ted had also passed, and it was lovely to see the kids all grown up and wonderful people. So I'm grateful that I got to see Gloria again. And thank you.
How's it going, guys? My name is Heath, and actually, I feel very honored just to be here right now. I can truly say that the reason why I know an incredible soul, Gloria Ginsberg, is my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, and just how tight they've always stayed very tight. I grew up with Gloria almost like a second grandmother, because birds of a feather flock together, right? So I grew up with a lot of very strong women in my family, and Gloria was definitely one of those women. I was just kind of thinking about, how to really describe a person like Gloria, and I was like, just things that come to mind right away is wild, spunky, beautiful, and brilliant. I grew up I have big memories of her at a very young age, right? And I think the way she, there's a word, I think it's Mahatma, and I think it means a great soul, right? And you can see that when she comes into a room and she's dressed in all kinds of amazing, beautiful colors. And you're kind of seeing some beautiful representations of that now. And I think that's a representation of who she was on the inside, her beautiful soul on the inside. It was almost like there was so much going on there that she couldn't help but express it in a physical representation. And so I just want to say that she made a big mark on my life and on obviously so many people in this room, on our family, very, very much, where she'll never be replaced. And I think about her often. She's just a special essence that came into this world for a brief moment. So yeah, that's all I want to say, guys. Hope to get to know some of you guys, and just glad to be here.
I feel like we should do a quick check and see if anyone on Zoom wants to speak.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Are there okay. Would anybody on Zoom like to say anything? I didn't even think about that.
And I'm not even-
If somebody wants to say something, I'd bring the mic to the speaker. John Garlick.
We're not a requirement, by
It's
no
not a
means a
requirement at all.
requirement.
Okay, all right.
Wait, I got one thing. Oh,
Okay, Jeff, when I see. Okay.
Sorry, I missed a key part of Gloria the troublemaker, I'll call her. But Claudia and I are starting a date, and she picks up the phone and calls let's see, when I was in Laguna, I had the Milletts were my neighbors, so she calls up Susie Millett, her best friend. To check up on this guy that she dated. 60 years old. It just happened that Susie Millett was up in Oregon visiting my mom, so she just handed the phone over to my mom. Always watching out for the kids.
Hi, my name is Dawn and Erica and I grew up together, so as the sister had said, there were always people in your house, and I was one of them. I was there for meals and all kinds of things, and we would run home from school when we were way too young to do so, to raid the fridge for any chocolate your dad had brought home from afar. And Frisky would follow us back to school. And but anyway, her house was a house of just a lot louder than my house. And it was a great refuge. I absolutely loved it. And she spent time at my house, so I'm sure that was very different from her house. So we were back and forth all the time. So there's two ways that Gloria weekly, more than once a week. And so you guys are now gonna be stuck on it too. One, my name is Dawn with a W, and nobody but Gloria said the W. So when you address me, you can call me Dawn. There's the W. And I didn't know there was a W until he told me. And so I am Dawn. So whenever anybody calls me Dawn, of course I think of Gloria. The other thing is we have a lot of lizards at our house. And we have a saying in our house that goes back to the day you were born. And we were supposed to come stay, my husband and I were supposed to come stay with Erica, and lo and behold, there was a change of plans. So we went and we were hanging out with Gloria after we visited and everything, and having some Chinese food, Thai food. And these geckos are running around, so this is in Hawaii, so these geckos are running around the ceiling. She is not having it. She does not want to deal with the geckos. So we explained, they eat the bugs, they're really good, they're good luck. And so we go on the geckos. And our family, my kids don't even know why they say that, but every time we see a lizard, we say, bring on the geckos. So when you see a lizard, we're very much a gecko fan after that. Anybody, oh, Johnny, oh gosh, I need you guys to also know before she gets, you know what, I'll just let, this is my third grade teacher, he's now gonna be my daughter. And she was this bright-eyed little troublemaker. So I just wanted to tell you, Gloria, just before she passed away, she asked Jeff to call me, and so she could talk to me. And we just had this wonderful conversation. I had known her before we moved away, and I got really acquainted with Jeff and Bonnie got together. And then she said to me, thank you for raising that beautiful son. And Gloria, thank you for raising that beautiful daughter. I don't think it's totally practice on asking for backup support here with Melanie. I absolutely love it. She's a baby. And I'll share this that she was the mom that I think all of us didn't have. And we would do the same thing. We would go over to her house, go over to Claudia's, and she always had bagels and cream cheese for us. She would, you know, all the kids would always be, you know, literally the whole floor of the living room would be kids laying down on the sleepover. And the first time I came up there, I remember her saying, "So are you sleeping over?"
And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to live here. And she was like, she's like, okay, great. So there's some laundry. that needs to be done. I'll do anything. And then I remember going outside and I saw Ted dark naked with a garden hose, you know, the hot tub. And I was like, but I never felt more safe and secure. You know, and just free to be myself. I'm Melanie, and I graduated high school. And Crystal, and I was one of the misfits, so it was appropriately named. My home life was dysfunctional and erratic, and was not safe. And when Claudia and I got really close, and I met Gloria and Ted and Meryl and Erica, love at first sight. It was home, it was safe. She provided an environment that I never knew existed. Everyone that was there was welcome and loved. And Claudia and Meryl and Erica were just these powerful, just individualists that you couldn't put in a box, you know. And I felt like I'm gonna be okay, you know, like I have hope because of them. And I have so many stories about, you know, being in that home and I'm so glad that Gloria got to meet my daughter, you know, when she was born. It was a pivotal moment, a healing moment. And but it was the end of high school and I had no clue what I was gonna do. I had no parental help, and I was dating this guy who was, you know, inappropriately older than I was, you know. Didn't know what I was gonna do, but I liked writing and I liked fashion, and I'm like, okay, I'll go to fashion school, you know. I knew I had to do it on my own, and I didn't have any money, and so I figured I'll just move with this guy in LA, and you know, that was gonna help and fix it. And Gloria met him. We had a dinner outside overlooking the canyon of Top of the World. Wonderful time up there. And I don't know if it was that night or it was later, but she came to me and we talked about it. She goes, and in her voice, and I can still hear it. She's like, so this guy, you know, in that voice. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, are you serious? I said, serious? I said, I'm 17. I mean, what's serious at 17? And I go, I don't know. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she just had a way about speaking to me, and I believe everyone else, she would give you pointers and then you would kind of figure it out later, you know. Like it was, and she just said, you know, is this your dream or his dream? What do you want to do? And it was kind of her way of saying, you know, be yourself and do it yourself. And then when I listened to the podcast just a few weeks ago that she did, I realized it all kind of, you know, came to me. Like I remembered that time and I remembered what she said to me, and I was like, it made sense. She was telling me to forge my own way and intuitively, because she didn't, you know. And I did. I jumped the guy, I sold my car, I moved to LA. And I ate mac and cheese for a long time. But I did it, and it always really meant to be Florida. And my dear friend Claudia, who her and I think so much together. I just love the Ginsberg so much. They just mean so much to me. Thank you.
You love me, Gloria. You love me, Gloria.
Okay. I shall. You want us to move the podium?
Hello, this is on, yeah, okay, hi. I'm Gretchen. I also grew up in Laguna Beach,
and nobody knows what to do with it.
on top of the world. And I'm one of three sisters also. Actually, it was four when Ron married my mom. Catherine or whatever her name became, she was a lot of different names in her lifetime. And she's still around and she sends her love, Meryl. Hi, Meryl. And I have so many stories, I thought about it, but really, the best one is just, like everybody has said, I almost spent, it seemed like more time down the street at Meryl and Erica and Claudia's house than I did at my own house, even though my house was a lot of fun too, and we were teachers and artists and creative people too, but there was something about Ted and Gloria that just made me feel so at home. And I remember being in the kitchen washing dishes and singing musicals. And we even would stage them and act them out. We did West Side Story, I know, Oklahoma, and you know. And then there was a time when we went through a phase where there was streaking was popular in the 70s. And we did some damage with some streaking, a little bit of damage with streaking. I remember there was some casualties with that. But yeah, Eric is saying, yes, corrected. Okay, but the greatest memory for me was when I was invited to their house for a Seder dinner. And my mom had been single my whole time growing up, and I'd never been around men really. And then she married a man who was Jewish, and I didn't really know what that was all about. And so I went to the Seder dinner at their house, and it was seriously one of the most beautiful things I have ever experienced. And I remember sitting there praying with Ted, Gloria, and everybody who was there, and I think the Garlets were there or something, and it was just June, and yeah, and it changed me forever, and I really embraced the culture and that, and then at the center where I sing now in Mission Viejo, one year the Jewish couple, the Stearns, came and asked me, can you sing at our Seder dinner? And I said, I would love to. What do you want me to sing? And I sang, Let Me, My People Go. And I remember thinking the whole time that Gloria and Ted were right there, and the candles we lit, and I lit candles for me. Just so many beautiful memories. She was my second mom. That was lovely.
They don't have Elgin Scott and that. And when I think of the Ginsbergs in general, one thing I think of is powerful women. Very powerful women. My mother was a very powerful woman. I don't remember that much. My older sister Michelle was in Merrill's year, I believe. And when we lived in Rossmore, not this Rossmore, but aside from the original Rossmore in Rossmore, we drive to Laguna when I was little to the Democratic Club. Orange County Democratic Club. There are like 5 members, I think. And there were certain adults I remember, many of whom were there, some weren't, but I remember Reba Morton. She I remember because I was old enough. My sister remembers everybody. Gloria was at the Democratic Club meeting. I think it was the one where Irene was there. Where was our old governor, Jerry Brown, showed up. Yeah, and I was really impressed because he knew everybody's name. And then Rita told me, well, that's because when he's in the car, they have a folder with pictures on this, and so I'm going, oh, I thought I was very impressed that you went up. Does anybody remember that one or two people every now and then would show up at the main beach with a big signs?
Yeah.
Right, Eleanor was she was there all the time, yes. You know, walk around, there'd be like maybe 4 of them, and always Eleanor would be there, but one of these adults would always be Rita or Gloria or something, never huge, always about nuclear power stuff, but I also think Ryan Catherine wrote that. I mean, there were these core adults who shepherded us through the early 70s. You know, the craziness. The first party I ever went to when there was alcohol served, I just got in my car. My father gave me his 1964, I believe, automatic Beetle, right? And I come in, I'm walking in, there's people there, and there's Gloria, she goes, car keys. Okay. I had no idea. It was probably until like 2 years later that I was thinking back and I go, oh, I see what she was doing. But it's just an amazing time. When Laguna was a Laguna for all the TV shows and stuff like that.
So unless someone has something they want to say, I suggest we take whatever time you want to enjoy one another. I sure am looking forward to doing a little more of that. I don't want to cut anybody off, but at the same time, I want to invite mixing. So are we good? Did I miss anybody?